was wondering what the occasion was that Fujimoto had been pumping these chapters out full speed and not actually taking a break every other week like he normally does. And genuinely, it just seems to me that one of his favorite things to do is to tangle sex in front of Denji. So, of course, Fujimoto would have more than enough time to dedicate working on that happening. Despite finding this newfound courage to continue living, and all of the death and loss that he's been surrounded by, the one thing that Denji will never be able to escape, unfortunately, is his immaturity and the entire idea of love and affection. Because even Yoru calls Denji in this chapter a slave to his sex drive, and that it's one of the most pitiful traits as a human that he could possibly have. However, one thing that I was wrong about, it seems, is just how much Yoru truly does seem to understand her feelings surrounding the Chainsaw Boy. Because Yoru in this chapter seems to be so much more aware of the dynamics between her, Asa, and Denji, and also just how easy it would be to manipulate the boy through physical attraction as opposed to emotional manipulation. Because we all know that when Denji was being controlled by Makima, the idea of going on a date and having sex with her was a little bit more than just the physical desire, right? Like, Denji was fully obsessed and fully infatuated with everything that Makima was. Whereas with Yoru, I think there is a distinct difference in the level of quote-unquote obsession. Whereas Denji was obsessed with Makima, which is why when Himeno tried to do the whole sleep with him thing, he really couldn't get into it because he wanted to be with someone that he actually felt feelings for. Whereas now, when it comes to Yoru and Yoru's dangling of everything in his face, it seems to be so much more of like that innate carnal instinctual desire for lovemaking than it does for, oh my god, I'm so in love with this woman and it has to be her that I lose my virginity to, if that makes sense. Denji is crying, sure, there's a little bit of emotions involved, but the difference is Denji isn't crying because he loves Yoru and she's offering herself to him. He's crying because he's lost everything at this point and feels probably more alone than he ever has, but there is still at least one person in the world that still likes and accepts Denji for who he is. Yoru's sexual advances only really serve to cloud Denji's mind. Her words, not even really registering, because to be honest with you, I don't know if Denji's hearing a word that this woman is saying to him over the sound of his erupting boner, because goddamn, this woman is literally just like spilling her heart out to him, what she plans to do with him, why she likes him, all of this stuff, and this man is like barely comprehending any of it. Before we talk about the ramifications of pitting Denji up against the Death Devil just so he has the chance to get laid, I think it's important to recognize here the reason that Denji is just incapable of understanding what Yoru is doing or saying right now. Because again, I have to remind you that despite Denji's confidence he gained in the aging world, he is still alone. He still has lost his family. He lost all of his dogs and pets. He, for all intents and purposes, is alone, and the only friend he has wants to turn him into a weapon. So right now, I think we have seen Denji at his most purposeless. Like, the very least amount of reason to live that Denji has ever had. Every single avenue of friendship, love, even general acquaintanceship has been exhausted, or otherwise these people are dead. And to be honest with you, I think the only person that might actually still give a fuck about Denji, and that's a very, very, very exaggerated fuck because we really don't know if this person gives a fuck about anything, is Kishibe. And that's more of like a guardian type thing than it would be like, oh, Denji, I need to make sure he's okay. Like, Kishibe, if he found out Denji died, he'd be like, ah, shit. Oh, well, you know, I feel like he would move on. So not only is that a huge maybe, we still have no idea where Kishibe even is, what he's up to, if he defected from public safety and is off living his own life. This man disappeared in chapter 97, hasn't appeared since. And sure, Denji has been alone most of his life. He grew up alone, so being alone isn't something that he's new to. However, for someone that was granted the luxury, which again, I use that word very loosely, of not being alone for at least almost like a year or two, all of these different experiences with Nayuta, power, Aki, everything that has been on has changed Denji irreparably, and now at this point, I don't think he wants to be alone anymore, especially because he knows what having friends is like. It's to the point that Yoru has admitted multiple times at this point that she is going to transform Denji into a weapon the moment that she gets the chance, but as long as Denji considers her and Asa friends, and he's able to live free and do as he pleases, having fun. According to him, it's all he really feels that he needs in life. And just hearing the idea that Asa might have feelings for him, and by proxy Yoru as well, is enough to bring Denji to actual tears. Because even now, when life is about to end for good, and Denji is apparently the most pathetic that he's ever been since the beginning of the story, someone still, at the end of the day, likes him. Not because they can use him and manipulate him, but because they genuinely care about him. Sure, Yoru the War Devil wants to transform Denji into a weapon, but even if her feelings are bullshit, Asa's aren't. The fact that Asa truly does have these feelings means, at the very least, when Yoru's out there edging Denji and calling him cute, she is at the very least not lying at the heart of things, right? When Yoru offers him sex after he defeats the Death Devil, unlike Makima's original promise back in part 1 that was mostly just a lie to get Denji to do some work for her, it seems like Yoru truly does mean that she'll give Denji sex. Now, that opens up a lot of big discussions and conversations, such as the entire idea of devil and human consent, and if Yoru is at liberty to auction off Asa's virginity like that. Also, I'm not even sure if Denji would be able to pick up on that kind of thing. And to be honest, I feel like I understand Denji less and less by the chapter. However, what is clear is the direct parallels that Fujimoto has been setting up since the beginning of part 2 between killing the Death Devil and we could fuck to kill the Gun Devil and we can fuck. Very obvious front and center parallel in this chapter. Both tasks, though, do seem almost impossible when you really think about it. Because the one thing that these two types of situations have in common is it's almost impossible for Denji to win at the end of it. The 20% Gun Devil used by the USA to battle against Makima would have obliterated Denji or any public safety officers that helped him in seconds if they ever tried to stand in the Gun Devil's way. And had Makima not been prepared to handle its descent on Japan, the casualties would have been in the billions. So if the Death Devil is truly the ultimate being, a devil so powerful that all other high-ranking devils have to be in attendance for its arrival, what would make you think that Denji's fight against the Death Devil would go any differently? I mean, there's no reason at all for anyone to believe that this would work any differently than it did before. Except now, Yoru, the War Devil, the horseman that will be planning on using Denji in this battle, probably won't even be able to win either. It's important to recognize that, sure, Yoru does wield the Soviet Union's portion of the Gun Devil, which was significantly larger than the US's. She has the Tank Devil, and she has far surpassed the level of where Makima probably was, skyrocketing her as one of the strongest devils on Earth right now. And sure, it's hard to say where these two sisters actually scale to one another. It is obvious that Makima needed everything at her disposal to beat Black Chainsaw Man, whereas Yoru was effortlessly able to dispatch Pochita, along with a large section of Tokyo on top of that. If we are to assume that even Yoru and Pochita combined aren't going to be enough to take on the Death Devil, how exactly do we plan on winning again? How exactly is Denji supposed to get laid? Is Yoru just like massively underestimating her sister's power? Or is she aware of something about the Death Devil that we aren't? Also, there's the third option, which is Yoru knows they stand no chance against the Death Devil and is just being an asshole to manipulate Denji even further. If Yoru knows full well Denji can't win, this might just be a way for her to turn him into a weapon even sooner. But then I ask at the end of the day, if she turns him into a weapon and still can't beat her sister and her sister kills her, what was the point of all of this to begin with? Again, here we are in a point of Chainsaw Man's story where I can't even begin to tell you what might happen next. This does seem to be directly paralleling Makima's big arc, as well as setting up the stage for the big Death Devil to replace the Gun Devil, but it's just unclear where any of these characters are going to end up development-wise. Has Denji truly been reduced to a dog yet again? Is there something even bigger and deeper brewing behind Denji's eyes that his brain's gonna snap him out of this sex trance and he's gonna start acting right? Honestly, I'm done making predictions. we're just gonna have to wait and see what Fujimoto blesses us with next chapter, since again, there is absolutely no break. So, thank you guys so much for watching this far. If you made it, and make sure you hit that like button, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.